Fucking hair's all fucking. Look at that. Hold on. Yeah, this was sent from someone in France because I was doing the Chris Cornell. Well, I started just to look up things about him, and then his death was so like just everywhere. You put in Chris Cornell things or like stories or documentaries, and it comes up. Yeah, a lot about his death. But yeah, someone in France sent me this one because it starts getting into conspiracy. Even though I have watched the kind of official thing, and it does seem completely logical in terms of the footage of the CCTV and that he killed himself, but then it's like they said that about Jeffrey Epstein too, and we know now that that was 100% not true. But yeah, and this is Silent Children promo. This is apparently, and it's not just him, Chris Cornell, and it's that come up a lot as well. Chester Bennington, who is he part of? Is he Linkin Park? I'm not sure, but he died too. They were mates, them two. And yeah, Anthony Bourdain and Chris Cornell all. Hold on, what does that say? Oh, we'll get into it anyway. I'm guessing that's what this is going to teach us. The Silent Child promo. So yeah, apparently this is they was working on like child sex trafficking documentary. And I haven't really worked out whether they was working on it together or they was at separate times. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, I guess we'll find out. So yeah, let's go. Hold on. What did that say? Isn't it interesting that Avicii, I don't know who that is, Chester Bennington, Anthony Bourdain and Chris Cornell all committed suicide while working on a documentary called The Silent Children about widespread paedophilia / trafficking, but the project was cancelled after Cornell's death. Okay, let's go. I don't want to sort my hair out. Yeah, let's go.
What? Hello?
The proposed feature documentary with a compelling and original point of view that would expose the truth of child sexploitation and human trafficking. Let's go.
You want to watch chaos? Watch this. My name is Paul. What is your name? Jamie. Hi.
My name's Paul Myhill. Ever since I was a young man, I've been a world traveler. As a kid, I was a fast tracker, plunged headfirst into entrepreneurial ventures. With all the success, I was losing a sense of significance, my place in the world. My first real taste of suffering children came on a visit to Uganda in the 90s. A little girl named Peace, 2 years old, as fragile as balsa wood, was suffering from malaria, had lost her parents to AIDS. My wife and I took turns holding this little girl, wiping her brow, only to learn a couple of weeks later after returning to the United States that she didn't make it. And that little girl has left a lasting impression upon me. A person like Little Peace should not have to die simply because she is born in the wrong quadrant of this globe, while we sit idly by chasing our toys, much like I used to do. There's a fair amount of places around the world where we put ourselves in a fair amount of risk. But our compassion for the children and asking the question, well, if not me, who? Who is going to stand in the gap and reach out to be an aid for these children? We're in Chisinau, Moldova right now, the 10th poorest nation in the world and certainly the most impoverished nation in all of Europe. For most people in the United States have never even heard of it. Moldova, known as the trafficking hub of this part of the world, population of a little over 4 million, and by some statistics, 400,000 of its people have been trafficked out.
This is the area where one of the head guys involved in human trafficking lives here, and nobody, police doesn't come this place.
Okay.
Just be careful. The cameras are on both sides of the house, and they see us. Be careful. Those guys are watching. It's a very known criminal area. If you come with a car and you're trying to run away from here, this is the only way. No way to get out of here. If you know so much, these guys would love, or they want to kill you.
Yeah.
Because you know the names, you know a lot of stuff. That's why I call these girls that are really released from human trafficking. They are like submarines. They go deep and they don't say anybody anything if they want to stay alive.
Those guys are living close to this railroad and are having girls transported
From this area. Connects Moldova to Romania, to Ukraine, and to the port in Ukraine on Odessa.
We're standing in one of Istanbul's port areas. Girls from Ukraine, Romania, Moldova, Transnistria are shipped to Turkey into the sex trade here, either as a destination point or as a transit point. The girls are actually put onto containers, and if you can imagine having a 32-hour plus ride in a container to then be let out and to then suffer the exploitation that occurs afterwards. The Turkish mafia basically rented a whole hotel, took these girls to this hotel, impregnated them, and the babies were then taken to have their organs harvested. Can you imagine the depth of depravity that it takes to take a poor child in an orphanage who's already lost their parents or already been abandoned, to then take them to a place of being raped, to then see that same child bear a child and maybe finally feeling like, gosh, I've accomplished something. Here's offspring, of my womb, to only then have that child ripped away to be harvested. And you've got rich people in the Emirates and Turkey and other countries of affluence, and they've got a dying child. They don't care about the child in a poor developing world. All they care about is they want to save the life of their child. They don't care how that heart, how that liver, how that kidney comes. All they care about is their child. And there's men who are willing to facilitate that. It's warped. No one is immune. Women, children, boys, Southeast Asia, Indian subcontinent, Latin America, Eastern Europe. There is nobody that is immune and out of the grip of this evil.
We're in Pattaya, Thailand, a area known for the sex tourism industry. A lot of people
come here actually on an official sex tour. You can see one of the tour buses.
Now he's got his hand on bare skin. It doesn't get more open than this. Hold on, this guy in the suspenders.
Yeah. As we've walked this street here, it feels like a carnival atmosphere. What can only be described as a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh yeah. She was young. She was young.
It's 5 a.m. in Patpong, one of Bangkok's prostitution districts. This bar beside me here has a rather offensive name, but the truth is that everything that goes on this street and many like it in Bangkok is truly offensive. There's 50 girls at 6 in the morning?
Yes, sir. But now happy hour. Happy hour, the first room.
No photo, no photo. Well, don't have the door open then.
One of the things that really gets to me personally is a lot of these girls have numbers into their chest, where a client would then pick out a girl by a number. They don't have a name, they don't have a history, they don't have a family. They're simply a number. They're a piece of meat to be put on display and chosen for butchering. It's a little after 7 in the morning, and the girls are still working out on the streets. It's a little early to be working this morning, isn't it?
Yeah, because in the night time police is catching.
In the nighttime, the police are snatching the girls?
Touching.
Oh, touching. They abuse the girls. So you like to work the daytime to avoid the police. Just across the border in northern Thailand.
This has actually been fucking well heavy. Yeah, well, we're talking more at the end. Let's just go.
Just across the border in northern Thailand, actually in Burma, and the sign behind me pretty much says it all. An exhortation to not sell your children, to not see your children be placed into domestic servitude, to beat and abuse them, and to also see them in a situation of child prostitution or sexual slavery. Imagine being sold into slavery for $10.
ไม่มีความสุขค่ะพ่อแม่ก็ต่างคนต่างแยกกันอยู่
My mother sold me for about 300 baht back behind the house, about $10.
The scars run deep, and it takes a loving home to be able to help mend some of those wounds. In a lot of these countries we work in, these kids graduate or age out of these institutional orphanages, often corrupt institutional orphanages, where even the directors will call the traffickers and let them know when certain kids are being released. I'm now involved in a campaign, Traffic Jam. They're seeking to unite musicians and their fans to jam up child trafficking around the world while also jamming to make a difference. We have got a lot of artists that have given us signed instruments as part of this Instruments of Change program. I've got a beautiful guitar here that was donated to us by Dave Matthews. He signed it. He's put some pretty incredible artwork on it here because he believes in this cause, and he believes that this instrument can be an instrument of change. Just a stroke of a pen can break the chains of slavery for a child. Hello. Wow, hi. There's few things on this planet that elicit such a passionate response in people than the music they identify with and the causes they identify with, and to marry those together, there's power in that.
So is there a full one out? There must be a full one out already. But then it got cancelled then, didn't it say? Yeah, that was fucking heavy. But I didn't really go, but I'm guessing, yeah, this is what they was involved with. Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, but that, like, if you think then how deep, or how high up even, does it go? It's like in the wire, innit? In the wire when they're basically wiretapping hood drug dealers in America, but then there's a great line in it where it says, if you follow the drugs you get drug dealers, if you follow the money there's no telling where it will go, where it will end and where it reaches. And it's so true, and I think that's like with this, because it's crazy, like that is mad. And what do you think? Do you think this is what they? Well, it's mad that all of them committed suicide, but then on the other hand of that, on the other side of that, about the committing suicide, could it be that this is such heavy shit? And I don't know the personalities of everybody else in that list, but I've watched a bit about Chris Cornell and I've heard his music, and I've also heard his quotes about depression, and that he was depressed. He was someone who was depressed and dealt with that. And I don't know, maybe he did, like, getting involved in this and having to hear, but I don't know how much he got involved, whether he was just giving money, which it could be the case, because they do say that they reckon John Lennon got killed because he was giving money to Black Panthers. But yeah, it is tragic. It is tragic. You just see them, like, yeah, old creepy men, and you think your mother sold you, but then even that, it's like, we look at that and go, how could someone's mother sell them into that? And it's like, but it's just like, we just don't understand that level of poverty. And it's what's crazy when people, like, I know you can moan about, like, the West, like, it's not perfect, and there is things that you could do better, or we could do better. But when people act like this, like, whether it's America or here or wherever, needs to kind of be burnt down because of its history and wiped out, it's like, you don't want that, really. What's your alternative? To go back to being third world? You get rid of capitalism, what do? Go back to being third world. Go back to, yeah, being like that. It's like, the West isn't that bad, and for people that in the West that, like, moan about it, it's like, watch things like this and you see what it's like in other countries where, like, do you know what I mean? That girl's mum sold her for 300, which is probably a lot over there. That probably, like, I don't know, that's probably about 30 weeks pay more to them. I don't know what they get paid over there, but I can't imagine it's a lot. But that is worth £10 to us, or $10 even. It's like she sold her kid for $10, but it's not, because the value of it is different. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, It is tragic. And I don't know, I don't know whether they got killed because they made this, or whether they did kill themselves because of doing this. I think that's perfectly, could have plausible too. Because I remember watching, I'll react to one, because I watched it ages ago, but the other one I won't watch again. I watched this documentary about Jimmy Savile. I think it was called Jimmy Savile and the Ninth Circle. I'm sure that's what it was called. And it got to I think it was an hour documentary, and I got to about 25 minutes in and just thought, I don't want to fucking watch this anymore. I've seen enough of the fucking horrendous shit they do. There's only so much you can do to that as a fucking normal person. There's only so much, but then I suppose it's not. I suppose it's not. I suppose if someone else is capable, you can be capable of it. And I suppose that's what disgusts us the most. Is that these people are human beings, which means they're not from a different planet. They're not another animal. They are us. Which means if they're capable of that, then under the right circumstances, we are too. And I think that is what disgusts us about these people. But yeah, if you want to watch it, Jimmy Savile and the Night Circle. But yeah, I'm sure it was that one. And it was just brutal. The things that they was saying, the things they was coming out with what they did, and it's just I was thinking, I don't need to watch this shit. So yeah, I could see, if they were working on this and having to listen to the cases and deal with the kids or whatever, or they're over there filming it and fucking seeing kids get taken off by fucking old men or whatever, and just kind of knowing it's happening, and just I could understand fully. It's like with depression when they say it's kind of how can you not be? If you look around at the world, it is. I mean, there's a lot of great things too. But when you look around at the world, and I don't even just mean humans. This isn't just an attack on humans. It's everything. Everything on the planet has some form of. Most things on the planet, one eats the other one to survive. The one that eats the other one will get killed by other things for its territory, or if it's in the wrong territory or whatever. It's just so brutal, and it's you look around at the world and here, how people aren't depressed is amazing. But yeah, if there's a full documentary of this, I'll watch it. I think, even though that was enough. To be fair, that was disturbing enough. And it's because you see these kids, and all of us, I'm guessing. I've had loads of kids. There's loads of kids in my family. I had 3 older sisters, and I've got 10 nephews and nieces. Fucking hell, that's bad, innit? I can't even remember. Me. Hold on. And 4 great nephews and nieces. That's 14 kids. I was around my immediate world, and you see these kids, and it's they're all the same. No matter where you go in the world, kids are kids. They do the same shit. They like, you see them kids on camera, how kids do that goofy thing where they're like, they start getting, if you put a camera on them and film them and they start getting uncomfortable because they feel like they start doing stupid things. And it's like, you watch kids from all around the world have that same child thing, and it's like, yeah, you just, things like this just is brutal. I will watch one documentary on Jimmy Savile, but not the Ninth Circle one. But this one, yeah, if anyone has got a full one, I will check it out. But anyway, yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.